All right, Busted Play podcast live. No, I'm just kidding. Recorded from the 1130 studios in Shreveport, Louisiana. Joined with JD and producer Zach to talk to you about Christmas Day in college football, National Signing Day, all the high school seniors that have the talents to make it to play in a college level. All signed their letters of intent today to go to their school of choice. And as always, or at least in the past 6 years, Alabama is at the top of the list of the best recruiting class. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about LSU first. LSU finished what Rivals has them at number 8. I think they're a little above number 8, but respectively number 8, right below my Oklahoma Sooners. But let's go ahead and talk about the LSU football team and who they got this year. And JD, I know this is really close to you. Let's go ahead and start with Jacob Phillips, the number 1 middle linebacker in the country that LSU flipped from Oklahoma. What was so special about him? You know, you tell me you watch these highlight films of everybody. What was so special about Phillips, and why was he the number 1 overall pick? And what do the fans of LSU have to look forward to?
What they have to look forward to is pretty much another Barkevious Mingo busting.
But he's an inside linebacker.
I'm talking about that explosiveness coming through the gaps, coming at the quarterback. He's very explosive. He's very fast at reading. He's very good at play recognition. So him learning the defensive playbook and the schemes and being able to read the offenses he's going up against will not be a problem for this kid. He's going to be a day 1 starter, in my opinion, for the Tigers. And as much as it hurts me to say it, that he did flip from Oklahoma, I give all the credit to Ed Orgeron because he did. He flipped him hard, and he got himself a hell of a middle linebacker.
Yeah. Okay, this is what I wrote an article talking about this.
That wasn't even the biggest pickup, in my opinion.
Who was? Who do you think was
Jacoby
the biggest?
Stevens, the safety.
Yeah, the 5-star safety out of. Wow, they got 2 Tennessee boys out of there.
Yeah,
Jacob Phillips is from Nashville, and Jacoby Stevens is from. Hold on. Let me try to pronounce his hometown. Murfreesboro, Tennessee. There you go.
But he just has a natural nose for the ball, complete ball hawk back there, and he's a hard hitter. It's going to be a perfect replacement for Jamal Adams. So LSU did a great job filling in the gaps that were needed.
Yeah, LSU, 3 5-star commitments, which is a big deal. 12 4-star commits and 9 3-star commits. Number 8 ranking on Rivals.com. Ed Orgeron really showed how talented of a recruiter he is. Ed Orgeron, you might not be able to understand him very much, especially if you go to, somewhere up north and he's trying to recruit up north, which I don't think he's going to do.
But, I think. Let's talk about that other 5-star that LSU got, Chason, yeah. Out of Texas.
Tyler Shelvin, the defensive tackle out of Lafayette.
Well, Chason, that's who I wanted to talk about.
Chason.
The defensive.
I'm looking up the 5 stars right now. Hold on.
Oh, well.
Yeah. K'Levon Chason, yeah.
Out of Texas, which left.
A beast. 6'4", 220 defensive end.
Arden Key is who he reminds me of exactly. Honestly, my opinion, the guy that is better than Myles Garrett this past year, football season, number 13 from LSU, the defensive end. This is who this kid reminds me exactly of. LSU did a perfect job at finding just a replacement for this kid that's going into the NFL next year. And in my opinion, it's going to be a day 1 starter.
Okay.
So that was, I take that back. Jacoby Stevens was not the biggest pickup to me. It was Chason.
Well, I think the biggest pickup for LSU, besides the 2 quarterbacks that I think LSU desperately needs, is defensive tackle Tyler Shelvin, the 5-star out of Lafayette, Louisiana. 6'3", 360. This guy is a complete hoss.
I thought he was 375.
No, it says 360 on TigerBait.com. But LSU really seemed to go all around the board and pick up many different position players. Usually it's, great defensive players and mediocre offensive players. But I really think that, with Racey McCath and Manny Netherly. See, I'm still trying to get used to these names. But Netherly, honestly, I've watched some highlights of him today. I think this could be the next Odell Jarvis Landry combo, especially with these two quarterbacks and Miles Brennan, who's a 4-star out of Mississippi, who I saw him play in the Under Armour All-Star game. I think is which one he played in. But I remember watching him, and this guy has got an arm like Brett Favre, but one of the quickest releases I've seen, and very talented. Thinks on his feet, and I honestly think let's bring producer Zach in here, a LSU fan, and I'm gonna ask him this. And if y'all are listening to this and you have something else to say, just comment and let me know. I want to know what these LSU fans are really thinking, the diehards. But producer Zach, do you think with the year Danny Etling had last year coming in, do you think Etling should still be the starter? Or let's even say if you bring Brandon Harris back in to give him a shot with the type of offense he played in high school in many different formations, give him a shot? Or maybe even just Lowell Narcisse or Miles Brennan, the two incoming freshmen, do you think they should maybe get a shot? Basically I'm asking, do you think Etling should be a for sure starter, or do you think there should be a quarterback battle?
I definitely think they should see how these other two freshmen are, because I honestly don't really know that much about them. I didn't really keep up with the recruiting class this year, but hey,
you're fired.
If Brandon Harris can run this offense good and do what he's supposed to do, then I'm all for it. I really don't care who plays as long as they do good.
Why are you rubbing your face?
My face, like both sides of my face, just started itching really bad.
That's weird. I don't have facial hair. No. But I think the quarterback position with these two guys, I think Miles Brennan's going to be the real deal. I've heard Lowell Narcisse is going to be, he's being recruited by Alabama. That means he's good.
That's who I think will have more of an edge at getting the starting job this upcoming fall out of the two incoming freshmen.
You think so?
Yes. Okay. He's more of a gunslinger compared to Brennan, and I just think he's a little more accurate.
But I think LSU is going to be a hell of a force to be reckoned with Matt Canada,
no doubt,
Dave Aranda, this defense coming in, Ed Orgeron finally taking over, having full control, have nothing to worry about, and these players know for a fact they have their head coach. And I think LSU is going to be I think LSU Bama is going to be one of those classic matchups again next year. And but let's go ahead and start talking about the rest of the nation. Let's go ahead and talk about LSU's bitter rival, the Alabama Crimson Tides. This team had 20 out of the ESPN, was it 300 or 100?
300.
They had 20 out of the ESPN 300 commits on their team. And honestly, I think their number one is a guy I've been keeping up with since he was in the 8th grade, Dylan Moses. Number one athlete. He plays linebacker. He's going to play linebacker for the Crimson Tide. 6'2", 225. Amazing athlete. Dude knows how to tackle. And this Alabama team is just stacked again. But I will say that they did not dominate the recruiting show like they usually do. Yes, they had their number one team again, but so many great players that they could have gotten went somewhere else. I know there's a story going out about a guy who was supposed to sign with them. I forgot his name.
Can I ask you something, Dylan? What made you think? Is it just because Alabama's been so dominant over, let's just say, the past decade when it comes to recruiting, that them getting 7 5-stars to come to them is just normal, and that's why they're not dominating the recruiting cycle like you're used to?
Wait, what?
Like, are you saying that you've just become so accustomed that this is not dominant anymore?
No, Jay. It was a complete domination, but they've done better. Like they've gotten more 5-stars before. They've definitely had.
I really think what it is. If I'm trying to see what you're saying, I think they dominated.
Well, I'm not saying they didn't. I'm just saying that they're like Georgia, number 3, 2 5-stars, 14 4-stars, and 3 10-stars. Georgia had a one heck of a recruiting class this year. I did not see coming. We'll talk about that later. But what do you think is the biggest pickup for Alabama?
Definitely Najee Harris. They say, I've heard reporters that over in California that have watched him play football have said that you thought Derrick Henry and Adrian Peterson were great. Wait till you watch this kid play college football. So
We'll see. Maybe hopefully he's not a bust. I'd love to see that. See that go up against the LSU defense.
yeah, that would be crazy. But
Zach's
definitely
in there just like, oh crap.
it's definitely got to be. To me, it's definitely got to be Najee Harris.
Okay.
For sure.
What about the quarterback from Honolulu, Hawaii? I think it's Tua Tagovailoa.
He's got a
A 4-star quarterback out of Hawaii, 6'1", 185.
reminds me a lot of Marcus Mariota. Not just
Why?
because
Because he's Hawaiian.
No. The way he
It's
sits,
2017.
he's not as fast as Marcus, but just the way he sits in the pocket and he's poised and can throw the ball around the field. That's what makes me reminds me of Marcus.
Okay.
In this
All
game.
right, I got you. I feel you. All right, Jay. Who was your? If you look at the total commits, Michigan actually had the most commits in the country with 30, but they got the number 4 recruiting class. Michigan had 3 5-stars, 16 4-stars, and 9 3-stars. Number 4 class in the country, right behind Georgia, Ohio State number 2, and Bama, like we just talked about, is number 1. Who was your biggest surprise this year? Was it USC? Maybe Florida State? Who was it?
Definitely. I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm gonna go with the Florida Gators.
Okay.
I keep up with, for the listeners, I keep up with college football recruiting year round. I caught myself actually. I know this is kind of sad, but I caught myself looking at the 2018 rankings already. But Florida, this whole year, I've just been noticing how they slowly kept creeping up. And going into signing day today, I thought there was no way that they were going to be a top 10 team. And today they just busted out with all these 4-stars committing to them. And I kept noticing, I'm like, dang, they're getting a lot of talent. And then finally they just came out of nowhere, plopped up at number 9. And it just really impressed me. And Jim McElwain is putting himself a good recruiting class together. And I'd say watch out for Florida next year again.
I'd say watch out for James Robinson. Don't hang around that guy. He's going to snitch on you.
Yeah.
James Robinson, the guy who went to Ohio State on an official visit, a wideout from Lakeland, Florida, and then while he was in Ohio State, got busted with marijuana and goes on Twitter and basically says, man, these OSU players do a lot of drugs. Yeah, way to cover your trail there, kid. Good job. But, hey, you're playing for the Florida Gators, and I still don't think Florida is going to be good in the upcoming years. I really feel like it's just
Can I ask you why you believe that, Dylan? The 2-time defending SEC East champion.
SEC East. Who else do they have?
Well,
Tennessee,
Dylan,
who tanked?
they're still winning the SEC East. Like, that's no slouch of a division, in my opinion. I'm sorry.
This is coming from a guy who says he's not SEC biased. That was an SEC biased thing to say right there.
Not really.
JD, SEC East is no better than the Big 12.
You have got to be kidding me.
Who do you have? Tennessee, Florida,
Georgia.
Okay, Georgia. We'll see how well they do. They've had recruiting classes like this before. You know, this isn't the Matt Stafford era, is it AJ Green era? We'll see. Georgia with their new coach, Kirby Smart, is it? Yeah. See, I think Georgia can be great. I just don't think Florida is going to be. I don't know. I just have a feeling. Maybe they'll surprise me, but I really think Georgia is going to be the team running the East.
Okay.
You know, they get all these great running backs. They need to focus on offensive line more. Got a great quarterback in Caleb Eason.
I'm not saying that Georgia's not going to win.
Oh, I know.
I'm
just saying.
Count out Florida because I can see them winning the East again. Even though I can see them winning it, but I strongly do think that Georgia probably win that East next year.
Okay. Well, producer Zach, you want to say something? Okay, no, he doesn't. Okay. Well, Jada, let's go ahead and talk about The team that really surprised me, I would say Miami or Penn State, but I'm going to go with the USC Trojans because this team in a 5-minute span landed two what I thought were 2 5-star commits, and they are. It's just Rivals didn't have them listed as 5 stars, but within 5 minutes they moved up 10 spots in the rankings because of those 2 5-star commits. And USC with Sam Darnold, I think that this team is, especially what they showed against Penn State, this team to be reckoned with. Todd Helton's got that team back to winning ways in USC. They might not be the Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush era USC Trojans. That's just going to be hard to beat. But definitely bringing winning back to the the southern part of California in Los Angeles, and UCLA. This rivalry might start to get a lot better. Might be 2 top 10 teams. Because I love watching that game.
Wearing the blue and
I think the biggest pickup for them was Greg Johnson, an athlete out of LA, only 5'11", 183 pounds, but he runs a 4.2, and they say he never hardly ever drops a ball. But I was very surprised with USC and how well they've gotten over the whole era with Lane Kiffin, and then also with what was the dude's name? He showed up drunk. Steve Sarkisian, the OC at Alabama now. But no, Miami and Penn State really. Penn State, a 5-star commit, 10 4-stars and 3 10-stars, and with what they had last year, Penn State, I think the Big Ten is going to be very, very competitive next year. Like I think, of course, the winner of the Big Ten, I think, is going to be in the playoff again. Do you want to give your way too early college football playoff predictions later?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well, we'll see if we have time for that. But let's go ahead and talk about our team and the Oklahoma Sooners before we move on to Big Blue and FSU. Did I really? Did I say Caleb Eason? I meant Jacob Eason. Whatever. Caleb Eason doesn't watch this anyway. So, but no, quarterback for Georgia is Jacob Eason. Not Caleb, some dude I know. But all right, so let's go ahead. We're gonna talk about the Oklahoma Sooners. Sorry if me and JD get very excited about this, even though this is probably one of Oklahoma's best recruiting classes in the past couple of years.
Actually, this is their. I will go ahead and say this is their best recruiting class since, in my opinion, 04, 05. Maybe no. Scratch that. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm bringing a little closer to now. I'm gonna go back to 07. This is their best recruiting class since 07 when they got Sam Bradford, DeMarco Murray, and who was the tight end?
Jermaine Gresham.
Yeah, that recruiting class.
Okay.
This is the best recruiting class that Oklahoma has had since 07, in my opinion.
One thing I really like about this Oklahoma recruiting class is the size that we got at the skill position players. You see, we've had D.D. Westbrook, who is like 6 foot. I think that's the tallest receiver we've had that hadn't gotten kicked off the team. Sterling Shepard was like easily 5'10", but he was so athletic and made up for that. But then I think it killed Oklahoma's offense whenever Perine and Mixon both decided to declare for the draft. But I think we made it up with Trey Sermon and what's that old boy's name? Kenny Brooks from Mansfield, Texas. Those 2 running backs. I've seen the highlights on Kenny.
I'll go ahead and say something, Dylan. Those 2 running backs are great and all, but what made this recruiting class for Oklahoma so great, in my opinion, were the 3 receivers that are coming in. That you give Baker Mayfield to throw the ball to this upcoming season, and C.D. Lamb, Marquise Brown, and
Cedarian Lamb.
His name on Twitter, C.D.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
C.D. Lamb and Charleston Rambo.
Oh, wow, what a name.
Yeah, those 3 receivers right there all ranked in the, if I am not mistaken, I believe they are all ranked in the top 30 in receivers in the nation this year. They're all 4 stars, and just from watching highlights on all 3 of those, they just light up. They'll give Baker Mayfield open men to throw to, and it's going to be Oklahoma's offense is going to be very, very, very difficult to stop this year. I can tell you that right now. It's going to be opposite of what I always believe. I think the pass game is going to be able to open up the run game for Kennedy Brooks or whoever is back there running the football for Oklahoma.
Okay. So, this is the segment of the National Signing Day Busted Play podcast. This is the segment. I just totally messed that up, but whatever. I don't care. But who was the laughing stock this year? I will give you, hey, Zach, scroll down to number 30. I'm going to go ahead and give you 2 options, and I'll pick the other one. The Texas Longhorns, which I'm extreme. What the hell was that?
Oh, it brings joy.
I just really hope that's not your real life. Your real life. Laugh.
It just brings joy to my heart to see that.
Or number 34, Baylor, which we all know it's probably being affected by the whole gang raping situation that's going on in Baylor. But University of Texas only had 18 total commitments, 8 4-stars and 8 3-stars. But Baylor had 27 with 21 3-stars and only 2 4-stars. So which one do you think's even worse? Or we can go ahead and go to Oklahoma State, the 3 teams I hate the most, with 3 4-stars and 16 3-stars. And I honestly think I'm choosing Texas on this one. You have a hotshot coach in Tom Herman coming to Texas.
How are you going to take my take? How are you going to take my take like that, Dylan?
Who shows this?
Touche.
Okay. The hotshot coach and Tom Herman coming in, and Texas is basically nibbling at his heels, kissing his feet. Come to Texas. You're the next big thing. You're the next Nick Saban is what it seemed like.
Quote. This is a quote from Tom Herman. Texas needs to recruit like Iowa State right now. That was his quote. I hope you know that, Don.
Why?
I don't know. That was his quote.
You're the University of beeping Texas. Why would you want to recruit like Iowa State?
I have no idea. But it brings joy to my heart. I'm so happy.
We'll see what happens. But, let's see, I'm scrolling down the list, and, I see Iowa State at 44, so he wants to recruit like Iowa State, who's got 23 stars and only 24 total commits. So, you can recruit like Iowa State if you want to end up 5th in the Big 12 or 6th. But,
all right, so...
Kansas has got 55. Kansas got a 4-star. Look at the Jayhawks. Look at them. Oh, I'm so proud.
But you want to talk about disappointment? Are we going disappointment, Don?
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. Then my disappointment for this recruiting class has to be Michigan State, in my opinion. Just to be able to even compete in the Big Ten. You had an off year last year, in my opinion. I thought you had a lot of talent to be able to compete with the Ohio State in Michigan. And then you only reel in 4 4-stars and 16 3-stars. I mean, you reeled in 24 recruits, but come on, man. Mark D'Antonio, get on your business and get some good players in there.
Well, you do have Jim Harbaugh to go up against, and I will say he's one of those next-tier recruiters in college. Hey, who wouldn't want to go to Rome for spring practice?
Well, all that's about to be shut down.
We'll see. We'll see if that happens. But, a coach like that who's adventurous and, players want to play for him. Plain and simple.
Yep.
And even if they didn't go to Rome, they still want to play for him. Former NFL coach, made it to the Super Bowl. Really, really, he went to a go-kart track with one of his commits who committed today. And he went to his home state and raced go-karts with him. You think Nick Saban's going to do that? Well, no, because Nick Saban's about his business. But do you think Bob Stoops will do that? Do you think that Todd Helton would do that?
Todd Helton.
Yeah, USC.
But
this
honestly,
guy,
I
he
think
just
Bob
shows,
would do that.
he just shows so much youth, and he relates to the players. And I really love how Harbaugh recruits, and it works. 30 recruits, 30 commitments today, and that's something to be proud of. And Michigan Ohio State next year is going to be great again.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a great game. Well, honestly, I don't think it. I think Ohio State will have their number again, just because of how young Michigan is. But Michigan will definitely put up a good fight, especially with it being in the Big House.
All right, so JD, let's give our 3 predictions for next year. Coach firings, surprise teams, just something like that. Let's go ahead and give our what you think is going to happen next year. You can say, Alabama's going to win the title. That could be your prediction, but just here, I'll start off. Prediction number 1, Brian Kelly is out of Notre Dame after next year. I say he's gone. Then I'm going to sit there and say that Florida State does not win the ACC. I say that they'll end up losing the ACC to Miami. I think Miami's going to step it up next year. I think Mark Richt's going to be in his second year. Basically has his culture ready. Everyone's buying into the culture there. They did just lose their senior quarterback, but I just have a good feeling about Miami. But then also, I'm going to say that if Texas A&M doesn't have a regular Texas A&M post-Manziel era season, I say that Kevin Sumlin's out of Texas A&M because I think they really want to win.
All right.
Wait, hold on. Producer Zach wants to say something about A&M.
I said they're going to have to beat LSU. I believe, I really do, because that's the one team he has not beat since he's been in the SEC.
All right.
All right. My big predictions. Oklahoma will be in the playoff.
Okay.
I strongly believe. Not saying that to our listeners. Not saying that as a very avid Oklahoma fan. I'm saying that with what they brought in and with Baker Mayfield coming back,
You're wearing Oklahoma shoes.
And the Oklahoma or the defense that they brought in to fill the holes, with the schedule next year, not starting out with Houston and having a tune-up game to get ready for that showdown on September 9th up in Columbus against Ohio State. I believe that Oklahoma will get it done, and I just can see the Sooners getting to the playoff next year. So that's my bold prediction, number 1. Number 2, you might think I've not thinking straight in my opinion, but I say LSU gets Alabama next year.
No, I think that's a huge possibility. I even said it earlier.
And gets to the playoff.
I wouldn't put it past them. They got a hell of a running back coming back, a guy who doesn't get injured. No, I'm not throwing shade at Leonard Fournette, okay? I'm not. I'm just saying Darius Geis is one of the best running backs I've seen since Adrian Peterson, honestly. I've seen him live, standing on the sidelines in Arkansas when he just tore it up in the second half. This guy is something special. He's not afraid to get hit. He sits there and he'll make his cuts, but he doesn't lose any speed. It's amazing. And Darius Geis is going to be one special running back.
All right. And I'm going to go ahead and say my Heisman winner will not be Lamar Jackson. Your Heisman winner for 2017.
Let me guess. Can I guess?
Yeah, go ahead.
Baker Mayfield.
Sam Darnold.
Oh.
Out of USC.
Lawson Scott.
Yeah. AKA Lawson
Shout out Lawson Scott.
Yeah. But those are my predictions.
Okay. Producer Zach doesn't want to give any. He doesn't like doing his job. But all right, guys, this has been the national.
Why don't we just predict our playoff? Who will be in?
God,
Why not, Dylan? Come on.
man. Baylor, Utah, Mississippi State, and Washington. Oh, you don't accept that one. Okay, let me be serious. Oh, man. I'm going to say Miami, number 4. SEC champion's going to get in there for sure, so I'm going to say LSU. I really think they're going to have something going for them next year. But you can't leave Bama out, so I'm going to put Bama in there too. Forget the whole ranking thing, like Miami 4 or whatever. But I don't think Bama's. I think that's going to be a really close game. But then I've still got a really, really good feeling about Penn State next year, and I'm going to put Penn State in there. I'm sorry, I'm not putting Oklahoma in there because of we lost a lot of players, and I feel like this. We filled holes with great players, but it's going to be a learning process. Next year or two.
That Baker Mayfield has a chip on his shoulder.
But he does. Yeah, he might have a chip on his shoulder, but he doesn't have anybody to help him. Really,
Dylan, I'm telling you, those receivers they got in it's gonna be great. And
sorry, Jay, I'm not blinded by the love of Oklahoma. Okay, I love them to death, but you got to look at reality and think, they're going to be freshmen. And if you take them to the, even if they do make it to the playoff, let's say if they got to play Alabama or an Ohio State.
I never said that
I'm
they
just
were
saying.
going to win national championship.
I'm saying that's what I'm saying. If you get there and it's like, it's going to hit them like a ton of Joe Mixons, All right, that's enough. All right, this has been the National Signing Day. Oh, okay, well, sorry. I see what they are. You already wrote it down. All right, go ahead.
All right, I got Oklahoma, LSU, Ohio State, and USC.
Oh, okay, that was a lot faster than I did. Oklahoma, LSU, Ohio State, USC.
Yep.
Okay. Winner?
Oh, Oklahoma over LSU.
Okay. I say LSU over Penn State.
Okay.
So that's what I got. All right. So now, before you interrupt me again, are you done?
Yeah,
Nothing else you need to say? Okay. JD's done. I'm done. Producer Zach's done. Thank y'all for joining us. This has been the Busted Play podcast with 1130 The Tiger. National Signing Day extravaganza, I guess you could say. This has been a very long day. Shout out to everyone in Shreveport, Bossier, high school athletes who signed their letter of intent at Airline, Evangel, Parkway, Plain Dealing. Special shout out to Drew Brewster going to play at East Texas Baptist. Definitely deserve it. Hard-working kid right there. Connor Curry, just at Evangel, great kid right there. But just everyone in the 318, really, really, really proud of all y'all. Honestly, it's weird to say. I love high school football, and when you have you see these kids playing their hearts out, and then basically get their school paid for and get to play football. It's a great thing to see, playing the game that they love. But again, Busted Play podcast, and everyone listening, thank you and God bless.